Let's look at example number 3. It says, a lake has been contaminated by bacteria that reproduces exponentially. A lab took a sample of water in the lake and found only 2 single bacteria. During the second day, the bacteria on the sample had multiplied to 10. During the third day, the bacteria had multiplied to 50. On the fourth day, the scientists were alarmed because the bacteria had multiplied to 250. Find a rule to determine the number of bacteria found on the lake after n days. Assume that the bacteria will continue to duplicate at the same rate. So the first thing that we should do, we should go and make a list. We have the first day they found 2 bacteria. The second day they found 10 bacteria. The third day it's 50, 250, and so on. So we need to be able to find a rule. We need to be able to find an equation. We need to find the n term. So let's write that formula down. A sub n is equal to a sub 1 r n to the power of n minus 1. I need to plug in the a sub 1, the first term, and the ratio. We have a sub n is equal to a sub 1, which is your first term, in this case is 2. We need to be able to find the ratio. So let's go and find R, the ratio. The ratio is given to you by the second number divided by the first number. In this case, it's just 5. So you're going to take the second term divided by the first term. That'll give me 5, n minus 1. Remember not to multiply those two numbers because the exponent belongs only to the 5. So 5 to the power of n minus 1. And this will be your answer. This will be the equation, the n term, that will allow you to find any number on the sequence. So if you want to be able to find out how many bacteria you'll have on the 10th day, you can just plug in a 10. Just look on the left hand side. It says how many bacteria will be found on the 10th day. So we need to find how many bacteria will be found on the 10th day. Now that we have our equation, instead of the n, I can just plug in a 10. So be a sub 10 is equal to 2, 5 to the 9th power. And we can just plug it into the calculator. So we have 2 multiplied by 5 to the power of 9. And that'll give me 3,906,250. So the 10th term after 10 days, if the bacteria continues to reproduce at the same rate, this is how many bacteria they are going to be able to find. So remember, key concept is that they're asking for the n term, they're asking you guys for the equation, so you are able to find any term on the sequence. Example number 4. It says, write the n term of the geometric sequence with a sub 4 is equal to 3 and a common ratio of 5. When you are dealing with this type of problems, you want to be able to highlight the key information. So they're asking you for the n term of a geometric sequence. They tell you that a sub 4 is 3 and the ratio is 5. If they're asking you for the n term, they're asking you for the equation. It's a geometric sequence. Now they tell you that the fourth term is 3 and the ratio is 5. So let's write down the equation. You have to have memorized the equation by the time the test comes in. So you want to be able to write down without looking at it and see if you can compare it and see if you wrote it correctly or fix what you didn't, what errors you made. A sub n is equal to a sub 1 r n minus 1. Now remember, I need to be able to plug in the first term and the ratio in the equation on the n term. A sub n is equal to a sub 1. We don't know what a sub 1 is. We're going to have to find it. But they do give us the ratio. The ratio is 5. we have no idea what the a sub 1 is. So I need to be able to find it. So we need to be able to find a sub 1. To find a sub 1, we are going to use the same equation. A sub n is equal to a sub 1 r n minus 1. And we're going to plug in the information that they gave us. That'll be a sub n is equal to a sub 1. We don't know what a sub 1 is. That's what we're trying to find. R is the ratio, so we know what R is, which is 5 to the power of n minus 1. I need to find what a sub 1 is. So I need to be able to leave this variable by itself. I need to be able to plug in something for the a sub n in the n, so I'm able to solve for a sub 1. So I can have one variable left. The only other information that they give me is that a sub 4. A sub 4 is equal to 3. A sub 4 is the fourth term. So I'm applying the term under the s sub n, so that'll be 3. If I use the 3, the 3 is the fourth term. The corresponding n value for 3 is the 4. So the 4 goes on the n. So if I'm using the 3 for the term number, I need to be able to use the n value to plug into the n. And from here we just simplify. 3 is equal to a sub 1, 4 minus 1 is 3. Let me simplify out. 3 is equal to a sub 1. 5 to the third power is 5 times 5 times 5, which is 125. I'm going to divide by 125. Divide by 125. That will cancel. Remember, this was a multiplying, so we are dividing. So a sub 1 is equal to 3 divided by 125. And many times they'll give you a fraction, which is fine, because the only thing that we need to do, we just need to plug it in. So it'll be 3 over 125 multiplied by 5 to the power of n minus 1. And if you want to double check that this is correct, you can always plug in a 4 for the value of n. And once you simplify, you should end up with a 3. That will give you the third term. If you want to find out what the 10th number is, we plug in a 10, simplify it, and that will give you what the 10th number is, or the 10th term. Let's continue to the back side. On example number 5, it says, Henry hates bunnies. He hates them so much that he traveled to George and Lenny's rabbit farm and began kidnapping them. Henry traveled back and forth each day, kidnapping half of the bunnies on the farm on each trip. On the 5th day, he kidnapped 15 rabbits. Write the end term of the geometric sequence. So we're looking for the end term. We're looking for the equation. We're looking for the equation. So we need to be able to see what information did they give us. They tell us that the 5th day, he kidnapped 15 rabbits. So how can we write it down? 5th day, he kidnapped 15 rabbits. So that'll be a sub 5 is equal to 15. What else do they give us? They also tell us that he kidnapped half of the bunnies on each trip. And that'll be our ratio. R is going to be equal to 1/2. So let's go and write down the formula. A sub n is equal to a sub 1 r n minus 1. We need to be able to plug in the a sub 1, and I need to plug in the r. Let's see, a sub n is equal to a sub 1. Do I know how many did he kidnap the first day? Or what a sub 1 is? No. So that'll be a question mark. We need to find it. Do we know the ratio? Yes, it tells us that every day he kidnapped half of the bunnies each time. So the ratio will be 1/2 to the power n minus 1. So I need to be able to find a sub 1. To find a sub 1, I'm going to use the same equation, the n term, a sub 1 r n minus 1. And now I'll plug in everything that they give me. They tell me that the ratio is 1/2, so let me plug it in. To the power of n minus 1. I can't solve for a sub 1 because I still have two variables. Well, I have three variables, a sub n, a sub 1, and n. I need to be able to have only one variable in order to solve it. I'm going to use the 15 as a term number, and of course, what term number is this? This is the fifth, that'll be for the n. So this will correspond to the n value. If we use 15 for the term, the corresponding n value is 5. So give me is equal to a sub 1, 1/2, and instead of that n will be a 5 minus 1. And now we just simplify. 15 is equal to a sub 1, 1/2 to the 4th power. Let me continue over here. 1/2 to the 4th power is 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2, which will be 1/16. Now to be able to get rid of it's multiplying, so I can multiply by the reciprocal to get rid of the 1/16 to solve for a sub 1, or I can just multiply by 16 on both sides. That will cancel, so we have a sub 1 is equal to 16 times 15, just multiply on the side, and that'll give you 240. Therefore, on the first day, Henry kidnapped 240 rabbits. So remember, we're talking about how many rabbits he kidnapped each day. And from there, you can say that you can answer the question on the left. How many rabbits did the farm had before Henry started to kidnap the bunnies? So if he kidnapped on the first day 240, the day before, the barn had 480 rabbits. Do you guys agree? Very good.